everyone, I'm back again. It's getting towards the end of the Paradigm Shift Summit. It's been a long weekend, but really, really interesting. And so I've just heard Kerry Brown here talking about starseed activation, and everyone has a different take on starseeds.
Yes.
So tell us what you think your understanding of starseeds are.
My experience is it's taken a while for me to even get to this point, and I think I'm still open to it evolving. But I feel like, he looks like the Matrix. Anyway, it's all right. Evan was coming through. He's another very interesting guy. You had him on, didn't you? Evan
yes,
Strong.
Yes.
My belief at the moment seems to be that I think we all have that starseed heritage, and that it's activated when the time's right to sort of remember that aspect. And if, for me, when I found out, which is probably just a few years ago, of having that Pleiadian aspect, was only then that I would have accepted it.
Yeah.
I would have thought it sounded a bit like a bit out there, and I just don't think that I could have embraced it when I was a bit more mainstream.
Yeah, because you are quite grounded. I mean, you've worked as a registered nurse for a long time?
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years as a registered nurse. So you've already dealt with the see, touch, feel world.
Yes.
But you had experiences that sort of were the background of this sort of starting to speak light language and things like that. What happened?
So really the experiences came about from doing a lot of meditation, because then you get yourself to a different vibration and expansion that are more in line with those beings. So, you begin to meet them where they're at, and I think they come down to us a little bit as well. So I think that was really how it was born, my beginning of connecting and remembering. I do remember as a child a bright sort of light in my parents' bedroom, that the bedroom was dark, and then there was no lights except this big light that came out of the corner of the room that felt like it was the star people.
Yeah.
But
so these are positive
that's
people?
That part.
These are positive beings that you're having interactions with?
Yeah, I've certainly, because I do house clearings and healings on people that have entities and all of that, I've certainly experienced the lower vibration. So I'm not naive to the fact that there's beings that aren't here to be helpful,
Yeah.
It's like, for me, I say to people, when you start opening up to all of this, you don't want to just invite everyone to the party.
Yeah.
You only want the ones where you're going to feel good.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of, clearing and protection and just calling in the higher vibration beings. Yeah.
Okay.
But I do certainly see a lot of other different beings, in my mind's eye. Like when I tuned into someone last week, I was like, oh man, do you have a fascination for insects? And this whole thing came through about him and insectoids, which I actually wasn't familiar with them until I looked it up later. But information about the insectoids and the vibration and that energy is in the insects that we have here on the earth now, activating us. So there's always interesting new information coming in.
So with the whole idea of star beings, and I guess you referred to them because you mentioned going over to the United States, being with the Lakota people, and they talked about stories of star visitors. Is that in their mythology, in their understanding?
Yeah.
In your experience with them, I mean, they have a long history with those beings, so it's not any different to our culture, except that we're not used to hearing those stories.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's what freaks people out, isn't it?
Totally, yeah. So when I was over there with the Lakota people doing healings, and they talked about connecting to all that is, the same as I was doing, I realised that it's not some weird New Age thing. It's actually an ancient way, and it's very normal. So I don't see it as some freaky New Age thing. It's just you're communicating with these other beings, and for me, it's like when I communicate with people that have passed over, I don't see that as freaky either. It's just a really beautiful transmission that I receive and communication between them and myself. So sometimes people think that people that have died become zombies.
Yeah.
When really, but like, you know, your grandma, for instance, but really they're still the same loving being that they were here. And
Or not loving.
oh yeah, if it was your grumpy grandma, she'll be your grumpy grandma. But yeah, for me, it's a really beautiful natural communication and experience.
Yeah. So the beings that you're in communication with, you mentioned the Pleiades. How do you know they're Pleiadian?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm happy for everyone to have discernment on whatever I share. But for me, it actually just, like it was a couple of years before it dropped in that they were from Pleiades. So I just thought that they were spirit beings, didn't know they lived in the stars. And
So
yeah,
what
the information
connection-
just dropped in.
Okay.
Like I journaled a lot, and I started to draw, and just when I sit and receive like downloads, the downloads came that's where they were from.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very slow, natural, beautiful process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But it was work. It sounds like it was. You had to work at it.
If you call meditation work, which it is a lot of work for some people, but I was so desperate to digest everything I could and go to meditation groups. So I was on this soul sort of yearning that for me it was natural to do it. But it would feel like work if you're not quite at that stage yet, of, you know, feeling desperate for it.
Yeah. So you were saying too that it was very difficult at one stage in your life where you had a loving family, you got your kids and your husband and your life, but you felt there was something else, and there's a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you do there?
Yeah. So
How did you move on?
I cried a lot to start with of this, what's the meaning of life? I felt kind of like my soul was like inside just really sad, like a part of you's nearly dead, even though, so none of the external could fill me up. I had to go deep and I'd lost myself, and I think a lot of mums do that because they focus on the children and they don't use a lot of me time, you know, or take time aside. So I think you can lose. Yeah. What did I do? I had a loving, supportive husband, and I was able to work around. He was at home with the kids more, so I was able to sort of meditate and go to meditation groups. Yeah.
So you worked at reconnecting with yourself.
Totally.
Yeah. That's
It's
good
so
advice.
beautiful to go home to yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of us haven't come home to ourselves. That's what the first message I did today about connection. I usually say it's coming home to yourself, but that didn't come through. But I think most of us lose our navigation and we're out everywhere else. And for anyone that's opening up and does go multi-galactic, that can be really hard to be present. So then you've got to work at being grounded.
Yeah, because you've still got to pay the bills,
Yeah.
look after the kids, and pay your mortgages and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And that's what people ask me often is like, yeah, how do you do that? How do you balance this part of your life with that part of your life?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not always easy, is it?
No, you're sort of navigating it all, and I'll be at school sports and sometimes be getting, you know, these downloads, and I'll shuffle away and write them down, but usually I manage to sort of put them aside like an unopened email, and you just feel it waiting to be opened. So that's been helpful, and just grounding like the Indigenous ways, connecting with the earth and the fire and song and dance. Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. So it was great talking to you. I really enjoyed your presentation. She made us do star jumps, folks. So
Yes.
So have you got a website?
I have. KerryLouiseBrown.com. I thought that was up higher. I'm located in Bangalore, sort of near Byron Bay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So anyone in the area needs to talk to someone, Kerry's available.
and via Skype, whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kerry.
Thank you
That's
so
great.
much.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.